video is about the value of all types of communication. I have noticed that the spoken word seems to have a privileged position. It is often considered to be superior. All other forms of communication are too often considered inferior, or they might not even be considered communication at all. Alternative methods of communication might include typing on a communication device like I am using right now, pen and paper, gestures and signing, facial expressions, vocalizations and speech approximations, and the list goes on and on. I believe that there are a lot of people who turn their noses up at these kinds of communication. People who use these methods of communication are regarded as less intelligent. It is a mistake to assume that there is a correlation between a person's speech and their cognitive abilities. I might not be able to get out my words verbally very well, but that doesn't mean that I am incapable of thought. There are many reasons why a person would use augmentative and alternative communication, so you shouldn't ever assume anything because you will probably be wrong. People choose the best method of communication that works for them, and that is their right to do. It is none of your business, to be quite frank about it. One other thing that I wanted to talk about is respect for multimodal communication. People who use augmentative and alternative communication often use more than one form of AAC. This also should not be discouraged. One type of communication does not necessarily work in all situations. For example, I use a communication device, but sometimes I find it useful to convey messages by using pen and paper, like if I am in a noisy environment. This idea of multimodal communication is practiced by everyone, whether they realize it or not. When you send an email or text message, you are using different types of communication besides speech. Does anyone berate you for doing this? It isn't any different from the way that a non-speaking person might use a communication device and gestures in the same conversation. Everyone uses multiple methods of communication, and you shouldn't restrict the types of communication that non-speaking people have at their disposal. Try not to have an all-or-nothing attitude toward communication.